Hey, for those who may be interested, I thought I'd show you how my week is shaping up. I posted on Facebook the other day that I had really hit a wall, and that has definitely been the case. My hope had been to take a couple of days to just catch my breath, get my head on straight, you name it. I did take some time, just not the time that I had hoped, and probably not the time that I needed. So on Tuesday, I took basically the afternoon off. Let me see if I can just kind of get in here a little bit tighter for you. Took basically the afternoon off. On Wednesday, I actually was able to take the afternoon off. Now we're over here on Thursday. This is when I'm filming right now. And what I'm going to do is do a little bit of filming today, and then I'll do another catch up tomorrow and post the whole video together, but we're going to see if I can do maybe a little bit better. Some things that I did note that might be helpful for you if you're trying to do some health tracking as I am. I noticed by looking that I'm on day 22, day 21 on Monday, 22, 23, now day 24 of my cycle, which means that is contributing to my exhausted feeling, and it also contributes to my anxiety. So I will definitely notice an uptick in anxiety. Interestingly, when I start looking at my stress numbers in my total overview, let me see if I can get us there. What will happen usually is my stress will really start to go up during that portion of my cycle. Like I can actually see it's an emotional difference, which in turn has a physical difference. Getting back to this weekly view. So back to this weekly view, I start kind of keeping some data along those lines. I don't necessarily do that every day because once I've acknowledged it, I'm pretty aware at that point. But here's where I'd really like to see myself make some improvement the rest of the week. I'm not hitting my step goals or some of these other really personal, important, health-related goals when I'm taking care of myself properly. So I did hit my water goals 2 of the last few days, so I'll work special on that for the rest of today as well and the rest of the week. But happily, despite feeling stress and exhaustion, my moods are pretty solid, so that's good. For my steps, I didn't even write my steps down. I just wrote that they were falling short of the mark. And then you can see I have a couple of days where my sleep really stunk. I'm a 7-hour minimum average person. And again, I notice with my cycle, I will start to go downhill on sleep. So though that's kind of how the week is laying out, I wish I had had an opportunity to have more rest, but I really wasn't able to. That's okay. You know, we can only do what we can do, and I'm just going to move forward and do the best that I can. Let's see how I do. Hello again, I'm back. Let's normalize rough weeks, shall we? I have had a very rough week, and the last time I checked in, I was hoping that I was going to do better with my health stuff, but I am not doing better with my health stuff. Moving work has really taken over, and we've been going through housing negotiations, and as of yesterday, you'll notice I made a note here, housing negotiations that were hideous, in fact. That really hit me hard with my health, and I have been working through that as best as I can, but I've definitely hit a big bump in the road, and that's life. That's stuff that happens, right? So, health stuff, I am not staying on track. I'm just going to have to refocus my energy. I still have the rest of today to do a bit better, and I can work still further on Sunday. And that's just how it's going to have to be, and that's okay. I have gotten a lot done. I am very close to completing a number of things. In fact, there's some things that I can still mark off over here that I have finished. But one of the big changes in this particular week is I started working on this moving section. And this is my pre-moving stuff. So I think I mentioned that in a post that I put on Facebook, but just some layout considerations for the place we're moving into. And then I'm doing what I called a property edit. I am going through all of our belongings and just trying to double check on, what's still serving us, where do we need to make some adjustments, what can we donate, that sort of thing. And so I've been working on that bit by bit during the week, and in fact we've already been able to make some donations, so I'm really glad about that. For next week about this layout, I will do just like a post on Facebook, which is going to show this layout before it's starting to fill up. So I haven't filled in my week yet, obviously. I haven't filled in my to-dos, but I've just created the bones, the structure for what I'm going to be tracking in this coming week. And you'll notice over here I have a packing list because we start our move, I know, on Sunday. And so I want to, just start getting something going as far as our packing list is concerned. Some changes to my layout that I wanted to at least point out. I did give myself more room at the top for my appointments because I do have days when I have certain appointments and other things going on that I was really feeling confined by how little room I gave myself. So I changed that for this coming week, gave myself more room for that. And then I also gave myself more room in this middle section because I finally was able to achieve my goal of moving this health daily tracker over here. So you'll notice that here I just did what should have been really obvious, I think. I moved the Monday through Sunday portion to the top, whereas here I had it in this other layout because this made better sense to my brain, checking off things this direction. But I have more things in this that I wanted to be tracking each day during the week, and by moving that over here and tracking in this direction instead, I was able to put these things next to one another, which was my goal anyway. And then that gives me a lot more room for errands, chores, and then the current moving section. And as I mentioned before, my packing list. My packing list is actually building over here now. I think in the future when I'm not moving, I'm going to leave this as a notes section essentially. So clearly I could have errands and chores that bleed over into these columns, but the plan would also be just to have an area where I can make notes, because occasionally my errands and chores result in some notes, and so I think this could be really helpful for me in the future. So that's the plan with that. And I have some medication that I need to notate, some specific days that I need to start taking. So that's what you're noticing up at the top there. But otherwise, I think that's about all there is to share. Nothing terribly, terribly exciting. Hopefully you all had a great week, and I will talk to you later.